And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Wednesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour brought to you by our friends at Toyota. Warren, DJ Yokley here in the Yoke Cave, and we've got Scotty building brick by brick in the Minter Cave. What Struthers, right? No?
Struthers, yep.
Struthers, Ohio, baby. Scotty Minter joins us on Wednesdays, typically, and we're back to the usual suspects. Scotty, always good seeing you. Always good having you on the show. What's new, brother?
Oh, thank you, DJ. I'm good. Had a good Thanksgiving with family. It's always it's one of those things. Like, I love Christmas, but I think Thanksgiving is kind of gets swept under the rug sometimes, maybe is a little bit underrated. So it's always good to be with family. And then also had a good birthday yesterday. So I'm chomping at the bit. It's been a while since I've got to talk to you since we've been together. So I'm ready to go today.
Well, I love hearing that. First off, I got to ask you, what was the go to at Thanksgiving? What was your main what was the best part of the Thanksgiving dinner for you?
For me, it's always for me, stuffing is the goat. Will always be the goat of the Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, I like it all, but stuffing is where it's at. Everybody always says like mashed potatoes, but you can like eat those like anytime. Like, I think they're a little bit overrated in my opinion, but I do like it all, and it may be controversial, but give me the fake. I love the fake cranberry sauce. Take
Oh,
it
yeah,
all day
in the
out of it.
can
Yeah, I
with
love.
the ridges in
Yep,
it from the can.
yep. Give me that all day.
I still love that, but my wife makes a mean cranberry sauce, like really good cranberry sauce, with like the chunks of cranberry still on it. Oh, it's so good, it's so good. But stuffing, man, you can't beat stuffing, and there's grades of stuffing, right? Like there's I've never kind of like pizza. I've never had bad pizza, just pizza that wasn't as good as others. I've never had bad stuffing, so I guess, and I'm bragging on my wife today because she's an unbelievable cook. But I will tell you this: we had like a second Thanksgiving on Saturday, um, Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, one of those days, and they all mixed together. Scotty, by the way, those days on vacation, they all mixed together. I couldn't tell you what happened except on Thursday, but she made the stuffing and it was out of this world, like incredible, better than any stuffing I've ever had. It was sausage stuffing, so I don't know what the intricacies are of it, but it was better than any stuffing I've ever had. So I don't know if you're a sausage. This is gonna sound awful. I don't know if you're a sausage stuffing guy, but um, but if you've never had it, you got to try it. For you, birthday yesterday. Did you get any nice presents?
Uh, yeah, I did get some really nice presents. Um, I got my brother got me a YSU 94 champions hoodie because I needed some more Youngstown State apparel. I have plenty of other stuff, but I was running low on my YSU gear. So that was a great gift. That's probably my favorite of the gifts I've gotten. Uh,
Was it
your old,
is it the Youngstown Clothing Company one?
yeah, it is
Oh,
the Youngstown Clothing Company one. So
their
yeah,
stuff's so soft, so comfortable.
yeah, it is really comfortable. I love my. I have a hat with the tiger on it, like the beanie. I love that from Youngstown Clothing Company as well this time of year. Um, yeah, so I got that. Super Dave gifted me with it was from Johnny Manziel's rookie year, like a football, and it has like all of Johnny Manziel's accolades on it. So it's like a, uh, I guess that's kind of unique. And then my other friends got me a new Browns hoodie, but you know, that's that type of talk is for I don't like getting too much into it, at least not recently, because I just feel like I go too long on the Browns.
Hey,
But
listen, man, it's your birthday show. I'll let you have what if you want to talk about the Browns today, we'll talk about the Browns. If you want to talk about the Guardians, it's your birthday show, Scotty. I'll let you run wild with this one, okay?
okay, I if you're gonna, and I would like to talk some Guardians too, even
Okay.
because the Guardians in the Pirates, we talked about it a little bit in the past off the air, DJ, but um ironically they finished, I think they had the exact same record this year, and they were both 10 games, I think, below 500. But I want to say with the Pirates, some of the prospects they have in their pipeline and what's already been showed, some of the potential, I'm fearful that your Pirates, not that it's really a rival, because it's National League. Although with the schedule out is now, you play every team, but I'm kind of thinking the Pirates have a brighter future. I hate to say it, but the Guardians were dead last in the league by far when it came to home runs. And I think the team that was second to last still hit like 100 more home runs than the Guardians. So just not much power at all. Then they've had injuries to the pitching staff, and I don't know. I like the way the Pirates finished the season. I know because of how they started, it was kind of a downer because they started so great, and then the wheels kind of came off a bit. But I don't know. I'm nervous, DJ, because you've beaten me enough in football over the years. If the Pirates get to a place where they're substantially better than the Guardians, then I might not have much left to brag about.
Much left. Where did you have anything to brag about outside of the Steelers getting beat by the Browns a couple weeks ago? Um, Listen, the Guardians, they're a good team. They make the right moves. They get motivating guys. Losing Tito, I think, and having a new voice in that locker room, in that clubhouse, is going to be beneficial for the Guardians. It's going to be beneficial for that club. Um, I don't know. It's just, I know, Scotty. I kind of sandbag you this time of year with the Pirates. I don't know what to think of them because I don't know what they're going to do. They talk about how they're going to spend some money this year. I don't know if they're actually going to do that. I like Derek Shelton. I believe in him. I believe in Ben Charrington a lot, probably, and Siggy will attest probably more than I should. But at some point, this, looking down the road and saying, well, in this year we're going to start spending money. It's the year. It's the year you promised us. The window's open now for us. So we'll see how it goes with my Pirates, man. But my question to you is, you were feeling pretty good about yourself a couple weeks ago when the Browns beat the Steelers. My question to you is how you feel after playing the Broncos, who I think are I don't think they're as good as the Steelers. I think they're playing good football right now. But how do you feel about your Browns moving forward with a fourth string quarterback essentially, and possibly letting Joe Flacco having the reins to the kingdom in Cleveland here this week is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't feel great about where the Browns are right now, but at the same time, I don't feel as bad as you might think. I think if DTR can clear the concussion protocol, and I still haven't seen any new news on that. And it is rare. I mean, I think Kenny Pickett did it this year, and I think Brock Purdy did it too. But you would expect DTR to miss at least one game. But I thought he really started getting in a rhythm offensively, and then it was just unfortunate he got knocked out. Um, the Browns, and I'm not I I'm not saying it as an excuse because the NFL is a war of attrition. Every team has injuries, but uh, everybody knows the most important position. It's still that quarterback. So they just need to find a way to stop the bleeding. They have to find a way to get some stability there. I think Flacco could come in and win a game or two. I'm not high on 38-year-old Joe Flacco. You know, I think there's a better chance. Put it this way: the chances of the Browns being a true contender this year, and I do think they'll make the playoffs. I don't expect much after that. I do think they're a playoff team, but the chances of them being a true contender for it all this year, I think right now are slim. But I think there's a better chance DTR can lead them to where they want to go than somebody like Joe Flacco. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but he really, in his last like 17 starts, I think he's won like only four of them. He really hasn't played well in a long time. So I don't feel great right now, but I do still see the Browns as a playoff team.
That's interesting. I mean, that's interesting from a lot of angles because there's a lot of. I mean, to me, I look at the teams that were calling Joe Flacco, and there's one, and it was Cleveland, right? New York wasn't banging down the door. Indianapolis wasn't banging down the door. I mean, you look at some of these guys that have lost. Cincinnati, not banging down the door. They took AJ McCarron and Jake Browning over an NFL veteran and an elite quarterback in Joe Flacco. Um, I don't know that. And help me out here. And I'm just being honest. What does DTR have that is selling the Browns fans so well? Because I don't see anything special. I don't. And he beat my team. I didn't see anything special in him at all. Zero. Nothing. I just saw a guy that was crying on the sidelines.
Uh, I I think I get that. He hasn't done anything that's been flashy or put up the eye popping stats. Um, I do think for me when it comes down to it, like yeah, he wasn't great most of that Pittsburgh game. You could even say he was below average, but I think when they needed him to make throws at the end of the game, I thought he made really good throws. I'm not saying he's this like amazing quarterback, but I just think Joe Flacco, he's a statue back there. I think DP, DTR's a little more mobile. He could get out of trouble easier. The Browns' offensive line's been banged up a little bit. So I'm not saying, DTR's like a savior. I don't expect the Browns to get to a Super Bowl with DTR, but I think the ceiling's higher with DTR than it would be with Joe Flacco. I think he made some really good throws in the Denver game before he got knocked out with a concussion and was really getting in a rhythm. And he's only made 3 starts now, and he got knocked out of the third one early. So I think the more reps, the better. I know Joe Flacco apparently still has a great arm, and they talk about how he could make all the throws, but I just worry about him um, getting sacked and knocked around. And the Browns offensive line has been shaky at times. But I know you probably, I'm guessing by what you said right now, you probably think the Browns should go with Flacco and see if he has anything left. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, what do you have? PJ Walker, right? And DTR hasn't been cleared yet, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at DTR and I think he's he is Duck Hodges, right? And I look at what Roethlisberger got hurt a few years ago, and you had Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges take over the reins, and I think that's what the Browns are going through right now. Is you have Watson get hurt, not that Watson was anywhere close to Ben Roethlisberger's level, but you have Watson go down, and you have, um, you know, Duck Hodges, PJ Walker, and DTR. Or wait, no. We have I'm getting confused. We got DTR, we got Joe Flacco, and we have
PJ Walker.
okay. So who who's going to carry you into the playoffs? Like what guy is? Because I don't think DTR throws picks like unbelievably. I mean, his first start he had what 3 picks,
Yeah, 3 picks in his
and the second game was against
yeah, the
Pittsburgh,
one pick.
and and then you've got he got knocked out early in the Denver game, which I think he probably would have thrown a pick or two. Um, I don't think that there's an answer. I think this is going to be an opportunity for Browns fans to do one of two things. They're either going to point to the injury of Deshaun Watson and say, "Oh, we were just there. We were," and I'm hearing that already. We were right there. This was our year. Of course, we got an injury. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before. Browns fans crushed Baker Mayfield, saying that he should have, rested and come out when he wouldn't. That's the kind of guy you want. You want him playing because he wants to be out there. He wants to prove himself. And then you got Deshaun Watson. It was like the roles were reversed, and people were like, he should be tougher. This guy should be out there. Like, which guy do you want? You had that guy, and you kicked him out of town, and now you got the guy that you supposedly want, and he's too soft. And then
Yeah,
you got
well,
three guys behind him that combined don't make one good quarterback.
and I always but I jumped on people this year, not you, but Browns fans, other Browns fans that were so hard on Watson. I always thought that was a bad take because, to your point, like people were when Baker was going out there every week, but he was throwing interceptions and not effective. They say, why is he sitting? He's hurting the team. And then all of a sudden we get Deshaun Watson. He's not playing, and they say he's not tough enough. But I think that all goes. I mean, when you tear a ligament in your shoulder and you have a sprained ankle in a game, like I don't really think Browns fans should be questioning Deshaun Watson's toughness at this point. I think like if he wasn't tough, he wouldn't even have finished the Ravens game. But to your point about you don't see a path the Browns could get to the playoffs because you don't see them having enough at quarterback. The one thing I kind of, I guess my one rebuttal to that would just be the the Steelers. They haven't, like, using them as an example. They are where they're at because of their defense and because of that running game has started to click too with Harris and Warren. It really hasn't had anything to do with Kenny Pickett. So I do think the Browns defense is good enough to get them in the postseason, but in the playoffs, I mean, it's very rare a really good defense could carry a team. You're gonna need that uh, exceptional quarterback play. So that's where I think the Browns would, it would come to the end of the road. But
Okay. So the Browns are 7 wins and 4 losses at this point. So I'm going to read off the last of their games in the regular season. You tell me if it's a win or a loss. Okay?
okay, yeah.
This Sunday they play the Rams in Los Angeles. Win or a loss?
I hate to say it, but right now I think that's an L.
Okay. Jaguars come to Cleveland. Win or loss?
Um, I think that's probably an L as well.
Okay, so now you're 7-6. The Bears versus the Browns, I think, and this is, you're gonna not believe, I think that's a win
For who?
for the Browns.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so now you're 8-6. Browns versus Texans in Houston.
Um, I Houston's playing really well right now, but they still have a rookie QB. I think the Browns could win that game. I'm gonna say win.
Rookie QB who just happens to be on fire right now and in MVP conversations.
That's true.
Jets versus
But
Browns in Cleveland, probably with Aaron Rodgers.
I think that's a win. I can't because that's gonna be his first game back. No way he lights it up in his first game. So I
Yeah, that
think
never
that's
happens. They never.
a win.
That's never a subject that happens. Browns versus Bengals in Cincinnati to wrap up the year.
I think that's a win.
Okay, so you're saying that they're going to finish what? That was 8-6 to what? 10 and
I had two losses
two
there.
losses. So you're saying they're finishing 11-6.
I I mean, it's probably more likely 10-7, and I think 10 wins is good enough to get them in. But I think I could see a path where they win 11, but 10 is probably more likely.
Okay,
And
so my let's. I got to look up the playoff picture.
but
NFL.
I will say your Steelers are in a great position right now because their next 4 games should all be wins. I mean, I don't see them losing the next 4. So
I mean, Arizona this week, which I think that's a win. The difference for me, and I'm not being a super excited Steelers fan because I'm not, because I don't think you trust me, we're not winning the Super Bowl. I would be shocked. I would be stunned. I would be over the moon. Trust me. I would almost be embarrassed.
you picked them to get there at the beginning of the year.
If we're repicking our Super Bowl champion right now, Scotty, who are you picking?
Uh
Because it was the Browns.
yeah,
I
I
did not pick them to win the Super Bowl, by the way. I had
no,
somebody
you
else.
picked them to get to. You had Philly winning it, but
Yeah.
you had the Steelers getting to the Super Bowl. I would still right now, I would have my favorite. I think Frisco is the best team, so I would go with the Niners.
Okay. Which is a team that I counted out completely. I said that they were going to be terrible this year. I was wrong about that. I was way wrong about that. I'm sticking with the Eagles. I don't. These
You,
dudes just keep on winning.
do you think they beat San Francisco again this week in the championship game rematch?
I'm excited about it. I know that. I know I'm probably not going to be wagering much on that one. I can tell you that. Scott Redstar says Eagles Jags in the Super Bowl.
See, I like the Jags, but every time I think like they've arrived, they'll have like a stinker game, and it's like I don't think they're quite there yet. But
I can't between the Ravens and the Chiefs. I can't pin one down as the best team in the AFC right now because the Chiefs are. I want to say they're not good, but like every time I say that, they're just they pull one out of their you know what.
and you know who's another team though? Like he just mentioned the Jags, but another team for me that I was on even in our preseason pick'em show that I think could be a sleeper to get there in the AFC is Miami.
Yep, Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Bills just absolutely lukewarm, and you don't know what team's going to show up on any
That's
given.
what I mean. So I haven't looked at the standings, but so you really think there will be a team that you from what you've said, I'm under the impression that you don't see the Steelers and Browns both getting in.
No, it's gonna be one or the other. I think the okay. So right now in the AFC, it's Ravens, Chiefs, Jags, Dolphins, Steelers at 5, Browns at 6, Colts at 7. I think the Browns and the Colts fall off just
Okay,
because of their schedules. I think the Texans and the Bills get in.
interesting.
I
I
I, I do.
see. I don't. The Bills like they played. They went 2-2 with the Eagles, but
But
they
what do they
just
have that those other two quarterback or those other? Oh, I already gave it away. Those other two teams don't.
what did the Bills have?
Yeah. That the Browns and Colts do not.
A quarterback.
Quarterback, dude.
Yeah. That is true. I do think I will say though the defense still wins a lot of games, and especially in the regular season. And I do think that the Browns and the Browns defense, even you could throw the Texans in there. I think their defenses are better than much better than Buffalo's. I
Oh, there's no doubt. But again, you know what it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a race to 40 points in the playoffs, especially in the wild card round. So while the
I
defenses are
know
good,
this. You're absolutely right about that. I'm talking more just getting to the playoffs.
yeah, I think late in the year, defenses, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago when we were together at athletics. I think that there's going to be a lot more injuries. I mean, you look at the Browns.
And
Oof,
and
oof, oof.
Miles is banged up. So and I know you've never been a Denzel Ward fan either, but he was. I mean, it was a lot of people were saying he was playing like a top corner this year, and he was out the last game, and it did hurt them. So if he has to miss more time, if Miles is banged up, and I know we've had our um, back and forth heated moments. You think TJ Watt's Galaxy's better than Miles? I think it's pretty close. Their number, it's interesting because Watt passed Miles this week, but their numbers overall in the season, like they're eerie similar. Like they've been neck and neck all season.
I heard a great quote today about TJ Watt that I wanted to pass along to you and anybody out there because I'm hearing all this about Miles Garrett and how he's better than TJ Watt. And I saw an Instagram thing and they interviewed CBS headquarters. Like I don't know. Anyway, the quote was from JJ Watt. And he said, and I quote, that a normal year for TJ Watt, like he's having this year, is every other defensive player's best season they've ever had. Think about that. Like, that is a monster year. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Miles. Actually, I am. From Miles Garrett. But the reality is go look. The only thing that he's done more is I think he's got one more forced fumble when I saw the stats earlier today. One more forced fumble. Every other category TJ Watt owns. And he has owned last year, and he has owned the year before, and the year before. And like, but yet Browns fans worship Myles Garrett. Like, the numbers indicate TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the world, plays on another planet, like his head coach, Mike Tomlin, said. And yet Myles Garrett is the guy because why? Because he wears stupid costumes to work?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. You don't. I don't think you like Miles as a person, so that plays into your um your take too. But I never like I've told you
Good
for a
point.
long time now, um like as much as it pains me to say, like I thought for a while now that TJ Watt was the best defensive player in football. Where we disagree is I don't think TJ's on another planet separate from Miles. Like I think they're 1 and 1A. That's where we disagree. But
I mean, the only time I've ever seen Myles Garrett show up are in games not playing Pittsburgh. And he had, what, 2 sacks this last time they played Pittsburgh. And I was like, oh, okay, there he is. He's excited to be there. And they won
and
by
well,
3 points.
he should add it. That first play was a safety. You gotta admit that was a safety.
Okay, so would you rather have the safety or the touchdown that you guys didn't really score?
Well, I don't. I mean, I was at the. I'd rather have the touchdown, but I mean, it's still it goes. We would have won by 5 instead of 3. I mean, it's still taking points off the board.
I don't know,
I
man.
mean, I
And listen, don't get me like, you guys won. The Browns won. The Browns won, and I'm not gonna be spiteful because I'm so grateful that you beat us and we no longer have Matt Canada, because I think you did yourself a disservice in winning a game that didn't matter in order to get rid of a guy that matters a whole lot. And I think that we proved immediately the Steelers don't have a 400-yard game for 58 games. 58 games. We lose one guy, and then all of a sudden we unlock the key to a 400-yard game. I don't know, man. I don't know.
well, I don't. Well, first of all, though, how can you say it didn't matter when both teams are 6-3? I mean, it was a significant game.
Because
But I
if you lose that game, Matt Canada still has his job, and he probably keeps it for the rest of this year, which means he probably goes into next year with the job again, and we're susceptible.
I don't know about all that.
Oh, I do.
I mean,
They were looking when you lose to Cleveland, it's still Cleveland, right? It's still the Browns, and the Browns is the Browns. So you look at that and you go, all right, Matt, we appreciate what you did. I mean, and I guess it would have been if they lost to Cincinnati too, right? Or the next time they lost to Baltimore. So it's to me, it's just one of those scenarios that Cleveland once again shot themselves in the foot for the long term because you had Canada's number, right? You had it. You
well,
had
I gotta be honest. I've thought for a while it wasn't so much the Steelers. Then I still don't think Pickett's a good quarterback, but the pieces around him, I think the Steelers have good pieces around them. It wasn't so much the personnel. And I gotta be honest, I didn't watch the Steelers Cincinnati game from start to finish. But my takeaway from the Browns Steelers game when I was there is how is Jalen Warren how's he only getting 9 carries in this game?
sounds
He
familiar to you, doesn't it?
he needs to get, yeah, it does. So yeah, I think, I mean, and nothing against Najee Harris. I know he's done a little better. Um,
Yeah,
in the
99-yard
second
game.
half of yeah, he's done better, but he doesn't Jalen Warren just has that burst. He has that fire, and Najee Harris just seems more like a more of a power back to me.
That's what he is, and that's the thing. In college, he was at Alabama. He had the best offensive line in the country blocking for him against. I mean, Alabama versus everybody, right? So it was men against boys a lot of times. This is the NFL. Like, stop. Number one, stop trying to hurdle everybody because there's no reason for him to continue to try to hurdle people when he's already 12 yards downfield. And instead, if he runs through somebody, he gets another 10 yards or goes to the end zone. Hurdling somebody, they're just going to knock you out of bounds. I mean, it's stupid. He just wants to be on highlight reels. Again, I think somebody told him stop trying to jump over everybody. And then you got Jalen Warren, who I've been a fan of for a long time. He's a little guy, never takes his helmet off, and he is like he's like Austin Eckler and Barry Sanders if they had a kid, right there. I mean, that's who he is. That's who he is. The balance this guy has as an undrafted guy, it's incredible. It's incredible. He's Here you go. You ready? He's not Nick Chubb. I would never compare him to Nick Chubb, but he is a serviceable running back, and I think the future of the backfield with the Steelers. I'm really excited that the running game is going. Really excited that Broderick Jones, our first round draft pick, is just lights out right now on the right side of that line, which I think is probably a key indicator of why the offensive or the running game has taken off. But here's the thing. They were just defenses were just down on Kenny Pickett, right? He throws to the boundaries. They know what play's coming. Imagine if they don't know what play's coming, Scotty. Imagine if we shuffle the deck a little bit, so to speak, and then all of a sudden Kenny Pickett turns out to be who we thought he was. And everybody is going to be slack-jawed because the Steelers don't need to go get Justin Fields, who threw for 99 yards earlier this season and couldn't produce a touchdown but still produced a win on Monday night. Like, that's the name I've been hearing is Justin Fields is going to be a Steeler. There are a lot of people salivating. I don't know that we've really seen what Kenny Pickett can do. Does he stink? I don't know. Everybody says he does. He did pretty well against the Bengals. And the Bengals aren't some just pushover defense. So we'll see. I don't know. Do I think they're Super Bowl contenders right now? I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't think anybody beats Philly. I think Philly, even if they lose against San Francisco this week, they get it figured out. by the time they get to the Super Bowl. Because I don't know that Brock Purdy is the answer in San Francisco. I want him to be. I like Brock Purdy a lot. I don't know that he's the answer in San Francisco. I think they made a mistake.
Um, that he does have a lot around him, and in the big moments when they've been down, he's yet to show that he could come back. Um, but I totally agree with you. The Steelers' future overall, it could look a lot worse. It does look pretty promising, but and I'm not saying you exclusively. I think all fans do this. They're more biased to their team, obviously. Uh, but people, they want to just say that the Browns are gonna be in trouble, and what are they gonna do with QB? But you gotta see it's very early as it is in Pickett's career. It's even earlier in DTR's career. Also, for all the talk about how Deshaun Watson's been a disappointment and it's the worst trade ever, and the Browns are screwed, and how are they going to get out of this? And he doesn't have it. Now he's hurt. When he's this year, when he was under center, say what you want about his stats and everything else, the Browns were 5-1, and he's 8-4 overall as a starting QB. So he has a winning record. So that's the only thing I'll say. I think, yeah, the Steelers are in a good position, but the Browns are in my opinion, a really good position too.
I'm interested, Scotty. You've got a Super Bowl champion, MVP caliber quarterback on your team, and you think that a rookie who's already thrown a handful of interceptions should be playing over top of him.
I do. I know it's an unpopular take. There's Browns fans all over the Flacco train right now, but
What if Joe Flacco comes in, throws for 450 yards, looks like Joe Flacco of old, of the mid 2000s, like 2011 Joe Flacco or whatever it was. What is that? What does that look like to you? Do you jump on the Flacco train?
I would say like I'm very happy with his performance, but like we all know, one game doesn't make. Like I'd be very encouraged, and I'd say like maybe we do have something here, but I wouldn't be ready to crown him as the guy that's gonna take us to the Super Bowl off one game.
Like at this point, if you own the Browns or you're the general manager of Cleveland, do you look at Joe Flacco and you go, listen, we got nothing to lose at this point? Nothing. Because our franchise quarterback that we're paying a king's ransom to is out for the year. Is Cooper healthy? He got his bell rung?
Yeah, they said I don't think it's anything serious. The X-rays were negative, so he's just like day to day. I mean, he's not gonna be 100%, but I think Cooper and Garrett, if they miss any time, it'll be one game, and then they'll probably be back.
Sam says, I've never been a Flacco fan either. Well, no Browns fan's ever been a Flacco fan because he played for the Ravens. It's like if Roethlisberger jumped over to Cleveland late in his career, you guys would hate him. Every interception he threw, you guys be like, he's sabotaging our future. This is who he is. Wait until Joe Flacco throws an interception for Cleveland. Wait till he throws an interception. Like I can hear it. I can hear it in my head right now. The entire Facebook and Twitter universe is going to explode because they're going to say that there's a collusion with the Baltimore Ravens and Joe Flacco. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Preach it, Scotty says Denise. DTR is throwing the ball fine. Lots of drop passes and by players who usually make those catches. I don't know. I mean, does the other team usually catch the ball too pretty well? Because again, this guy has a lot of interceptions, a
I
lot.
mean, yeah, but a lot of those were also in the first game, DJ. He only threw one against the Steelers, and he didn't have any against Denver until he got knocked out in the fourth quarter. Like, that was his first NFL start, don't you think?
Ooh, Flacco is mid. He's Dilfer,
Uh,
even at his peak. Oh,
I don't
Sammy, I
know.
don't know about that.
I don't know about Trent. Like Flacco, one thing about him, like he had a cannon arm. Like I don't remember Trent Dilfer having a can, and he lit. I don't think Flacco threw one interception that year. He won the Super Bowl in the playoffs. I mean,
Dude, I Sam just lost a ton of credibility with that. I think there's people rolling their eyes. Like Joe Flacco was a force. He
yeah,
wasn't elite like everybody. Like he was fringe. He was
yeah,
fringe.
he was fringe. I mean, if you remember, is when they won that Super Bowl and he got the Super Bowl MVP. It's not like the Ravens defense. They had Ray Lewis. I can't remember if Ed Reed was on that team, but their defense, it wasn't like shut down like the 2000. Like they were giving up a lot of points, and he put up a lot of points for them. Like he was good. If you remember when he signed his contract after that Super Bowl, he got it was the highest paid of any quarterback.
Well, how about this one? I just Googled Joe Flacco best season and it put up 2014. He set career highs in passing yards with 3,986, touchdowns with 27. Um, he had 5 fumbles on the season, and none of them were lost. So you look at Joe Flacco, man, I'm starting to believe in him, man. I'm starting to believe that Cleveland's got a chance. I'm starting to believe, Scotty. I'm on the Flacco train.
You're
Let's
you're
go,
you're
Joe
wacko
Flacco.
for
I'm
Flacco.
Flacco for Flacco now. Um, listen, I'm gonna say this the only way I know how. I don't think that Cleveland would recognize a good quarterback if it bit him in the ass. I don't. I don't. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying
It
Joe
had
Flacco is going to light the world on fire, man, but you've got an MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback that fell in your lap for like 38.50, right? And you've got a quarterback that's a bazillion dollars that stinks, and you guys put him on a pedestal like he's the king of Jerusalem. Like it ain't that way. It ain't that way, dude.
But you say he stinks. What was his record this year as a starter? What's his
With
record
5-1.
overall? Yeah, he doesn't say he's 8-4 overall. That stinks.
I mean, Scotty, how many? What has he done for you? You've paid him $90 million to be in 12 games.
Okay, yeah, well you can't no one has a crystal ball on injuries. When
Oh,
he's healthy, he's good.
because he's softer than Sharman, man. He instead of those Bears being on that commercial, it should be your Watson sitting there. But then nobody will touch him with a 10-foot pole, and we all know why. Like I'm just saying. I'm just
So
saying.
you don't think he really played like you don't think those reports about how his shoulder was torn and he had a sprained ankle like you don't see that as tough playing through that.
No, I think he's a form of a cat.
Okay, all right, I get the picture. I,
That's what I think. I mean, like you're in the AFC North, man. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna have to play through it. That's you remember when? Surprise, surprise! I'm bringing up Ben Roethlisberger. Remember Roethlisberger broke his nose?
I do.
You remember when Baker Mayfield played through all those games with a ripped up shoulder or whatever it was that he had? And I mean, listen, this isn't a race thing. This isn't a anything but toughness. If you're coming out of the AFC North, you got to be tough. And people are going to be like, "Well, look at Joe Burrow." Yeah, I think Burrow's soft too. I do. He had a calf injury. He couldn't throw. So for some
What
reason,
a-
he couldn't
what
throw
about
any plays right. And then now he throws a touchdown and he what's wrong with his hand? Where did that come from?
some? I don't know though, DJ. Sometimes I do think it is just fortune and luck plays into it too. Because what about Lamar Jackson? Like before this year, he missed a ton of games. He missed all of the second half of last season because he was hurt. Like he's been hurt too. Like
Yeah,
people get
that
hurt, it
that
doesn't mean they don't want to play.
well, here's the thing, Scotty. When you're paying somebody that much, okay, and you're in a league that only allows you to pay so much, is what we call the salary cap. You hinder your team, and I think that's what say you can love him, you can hate him. Tom Brady took pay cuts because he understood that if he goes down, the other guys have to be able to step up. Also, by the way, it worked out pretty well for him winning 7 Super Bowls, right? I don't think that Deshaun Watson's the kind of guy that's going to go in there and be like, you know what? Go pay David Njoku $700 million because he can catch the ball and he's an asset to me. I think Deshaun Watson is the kind of guy that goes, yeah, you're going to pay me. And I
Oh,
want it all guaranteed.
okay, well, let me ask you this, DJ.
Good businessman, bad football player.
I know we're running short on time, but I mean, with everybody, because everybody always brings up the contract and how much money he's getting paid. But would you? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I love Cleveland. It's other than the Youngstown area. It's kind of like a second home. I'm there all the time. But with you, would you want to play for like I think the Browns they had the overpay because it's Cleveland. Like you could say about the Cleveland fans are always woe is me, but the truth is if they had won championships like you've seen in Pittsburgh and that they've had a history of championships in the past, it's an easier sell to a free. You don't have to pay them
Yeah, because the free agents that we bring in are all huge name free agents, dude. When's the last time that we landed a huge free agent in Pittsburgh?
I mean, I don't know, but all I'm saying is Cleveland has to overpay sometimes. I mean, it's still Cleveland at the end of the
It
day.
does no. Deshaun Watson would have played for the Canadian Football League if they would have given him $240 million guaranteed, right? That's how it goes. He's chasing paper. Cleveland overpaid, and the rest of the league hates him because of the guaranteed money that they gave up. That's how that works, and that's why none of these teams are going to be feel bad at all when Cleveland has to eat this contract. Let me ask you an honest question, and then we'll go to the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? Honest question, and I want you to think about this. Dude's played in 12 games. 12 games in his 3 years, right, in Cleveland?
Yeah.
If I told you you'd be giving $90 million against the cap for 12 games and he goes 8-4, would you be excited for that? Would you sign up for that again?
I wouldn't be excited for that, but I would sign up again because what are the other? You got a fifth round rookie quarterback or 38-year-old. Like they're kind of stuck. Like you got to sign up for that again. So I would sign up for it
Or,
again.
you essentially, if you played your cards right, you could have had CJ Stroud.
I don't see a world because they would have been
They'd have
so
had to give up
bad.
the farm, which they did.
But CJ Stroud went what 2 overall, so they would have had to win like anywhere from 2 to 4 games to even have.
Would you rather have CJ Stroud right now or Deshaun Watson?
Right now, I mean, Stroud's had a great season, but I'd still rather have Deshaun.
You'd rather have Deshaun Watson over CJ Stroud.
He's won more in the NFL. Like we've seen a ton of rookie quarterbacks have spectacular first seasons. Wait till year 2 or 3 to have a true judgment on them.
Okay, so CJ,
Everybody wants to put all these guys in the Hall of Fame after one great season. Deshaun Watson's made 3 Pro Bowls.
and won how many playoff games?
He still won more than CJ Stroud.
I understand that, Scotty, but what I'm saying is if the Browns would have put, and it's easy for me to say, right? Because they've drafted how many quarterbacks over the last 25 years or whatever it's been. But do you feel like they messed up on this one? Like, did you feel like it's almost like gambling at a casino where you're like, man, that next hand, that was it, that was the one. Because listen, I'm telling you right now, if CJ Stroud, who was at the Ohio State University, ended up in Cleveland, he would be a type of god that would be first off unwatchable for some of us and unfathomable for everybody else because you've got a guy who's playing for the Houston Texans by the way that absolutely stunk last year. You got a guy that's one of the best quarterbacks in football right now, and he's at $430,000 a year of salary plus whatever his signing bonus was. You got him on
Okay.
and that means you could pay everybody else everything else. So go get your stud receivers. You got Cooper. Go get another one. Go get another. Go get these guys that you can take care of. Go get a backup quarterback that's worth a damn, and that can mentor a CJ Stroud. And then all of a sudden you got something. And it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. I get that, right? It's easy for DJ Yokley to be GM whenever I don't have any skin in the game. But what I'm saying is, Scotty, Deshaun Watson, and I don't want to knock him, but his stuff that he did off the field was off the field. Look at the body of work. And Sam saying that he's backing you up and saying that you guys have to overpay to get people here. Can you overpay for the right people? That seems to be the problem. If Jerry Jones passes on the crazy quarterback, Johnny Manziel, you guys probably should have too.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, these last couple years, the Browns have brought in a lot of good players. I mean, we had the number one defense in the league going into the last, like, we brought a
Through the
lot of
first
good
5 games, I
players
remember.
here. And
And then you give up
like
29 to Denver.
the thing is, I get you, DJ. I understand that CJ Stroud is playing phenomenal right now, but I think the last year Baker was QB. I think the Browns finished 8-9. Like, how are they gonna be bad enough to get somebody like CJ Stroud? Like, it wasn't gonna work out.
You got to give up draft picks, man. And you guys had no problem giving up draft picks for Deshaun Watson to see what happened. What I'm saying is at 8-4 overall, if I would have told you before you guys had it, before you guys traded for him, if I would have said, "Hey, man, after 3 years, he's going to be 8-4," you would sign up for that. You'd say, "Yep, like it's FedEx.
I would,
I'll sign on it."
because I think when he's on the field, his arrow's gone up. Look at his last game. 14 of 14, over 100 yards, no
Look
interceptions.
at both Pittsburgh
Second
games.
half, he won the game.
Look at both Pittsburgh games.
Yeah, but he's progressed after that. He hasn't regressed. Is my point.
See, and I think Sam's nailed it. He's on my side of the boat on this one. I think we got starstruck. I hated Baker, but that may have been a mistake.
But what has Baker won since he left? He hasn't won anything. Like you're gonna say how terrible of a decision it was for us.
Trade him and your draft picks for the number 2 overall pick
They wouldn't accept. They're not gonna take Baker in draft picks for a number 2 overall pick.
for a guy that's been in the Pro Bowl 3 times and has won one playoff game and hasn't played in 2 years. I think they'd be all right with it. I think they like.
I I don't know. I have a hard time buying that Baker Mayfield after that 2021 season teams would give up their number 1 pick in the draft for him in some draft picks. Maybe, but
I know, man.
mean
It's.
could
I've
be
got
right.
another 6 weeks before you turn into Scotty that hates the Browns for 4 months. So I'll
I'm
be
not.
here when you come back. I'll be here with open arms whenever you realize that Deshaun Watson's not the guy, and that DTR is not going to get you to the Super Bowl or the playoffs. Like, I'll be here when Joe Flacco leads the mighty Cleveland Browns into the playoffs. I'll be here, arms extended, Scotty. I'll give you a big hug. You can talk about elves. You can talk about all the great things that Cleveland's been able to do this season and how they're the better team on paper. We'll talk about that. I'll be here for that.
Hey man, I did want to change it up today. Um,
No, I
but
know. I listen. I
yeah,
let you. I'm letting you
yeah.
go. I'm feeling generous. I'm feeling.
Yeah, and I thank you for that. But just know that I have, um,
Scotty wanted,
I
for the
got
record,
stuff in
Scotty
the
wanted to talk
bag.
local, and I let
Yeah,
him run with Guardians to start, and then we ended up naturally, as we always do,
yeah.
in Pittsburgh and Cleveland. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric. What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything industrial, anything that zaps you, give a call. every time, right in the middle of my pitch, give a call to Joe Dickey Electric or visit DickeyElectric.com. All right, Scotty, it is the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? What is your spark today, my friend?
I guess my spark would just be being fortunate and having another birthday. They say there's a number of ways you could look at it. There's I think the Billy Joel song "Only the Good Die Young," but then people also say that there's a saying only lucky people get old. I just feel fortunate to uh, know that I have great friends and family, a great support system with my immediate family and the YSN family. Uh, and just knowing that, not every day is going to be the best day ever, and rainbows and ice cream and sunshine. But you know what? That's okay. And it's just getting to that point where you take one thing good out of every single day and knowing that even if things get bad, like you've survived it, you've overcome it every one of your bad days. So I guess it's just that is getting another year. Um, I'm getting up there now, 35, but
Woo.
never felt better. So
Love it.
happy I got another birthday.
Happy belated birthday, buddy. Happy 35 to you. Mine is going to be kind of along the same. It's the youth movement. And I'll tell you what, on Monday, my son goes to school. He started on Tuesday after the Thanksgiving break. And I will tell you this, when it was Monday, and my wife and I looked at each other and we thought, there is no way, no way, no way that he gets any good merit this week. It was all going to be bad. We knew it. Yesterday he comes out of school. He got double green, which is good in the morning, good in the afternoon. Today, I pick him up. He's got double green, good in the morning, good in the afternoon. My dude is tearing it up. He is the Kenny Pickett of kindergarten right now. He is just absolutely tearing it up. As much as I'm wacko for Flacco. Z-Man is on fire, and I'm so proud of him. That is my spark, brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. One last thing before we go. We wanted to kind of incorporate some gift-giving guide here while we're, I guess, making our way towards Christmas here on the 29th of November. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up to you, you guys see the golf bag behind me right there, right over my shoulder, right there. And the one thing that I do use that has changed my game significantly for all you ladies out there who are looking for the perfect stocking stuffer for your student athlete that maybe goes out on the links, or for your husband, or maybe even just for you, let me introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to the martini, okay? Shaped like a martini glass, but this golf tee is plastic, so it is not going to break. So you'll have these tees forever. It's easy to spot the put the ball up and tee the ball up, and it has the stopper right there, so you'll be able to know the right kind of tee up every single time. It's consistent. So if you're looking for this, these are on Amazon.com. Check these out. Very affordable, under $5. So if you're looking for, getting an easy gift for your husband, or your son that plays golf, or whoever that plays golf, make sure you check out the martinis. They are awesome. They are come in all different colors: green, white, red, black, blue, orange. So they are awesome to have, and just another opportunity to have something. Then you don't have to think about it. Just go buy it. And there's Sammy. Team Green, go Z. That's going to do it for our show today. Thanks for tuning in. Scotty, thank you as always for being part of this show. We love having you back. And, I'm never going to bust your chops ever again about talking Browns and Steelers, because it's part of who we are, man. God bless you. God bless America. And we appreciate you guys tuning in for the latest edition of the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren. We'll see you tomorrow. We have Badger coach Pat Carney of the girls basketball program joining us. We'll see you then. YSN thanks you for